Hello, Mzansi. We are back as Hollywood Best brings you another exciting episode of A Game On. I am Caesar Mabena, proud to be in your company in a time when, well, it's exciting times in South African football. We start off with a bang. And as far as the MTN8, so much to talk about, though, in what's happened in just the recent past in South African football. But firstly, I want to say hi to Jerry Skosana, of course, out on that far side. And then I also want to introduce you to a new team member. But firstly, Chef, Grandpa. And for any of the youngsters watching, sitting in the center, the new member of the Game On team, that of course is Mark Haskins. If you don't know, played for Choma Cosmos, Morocco Swallows, Pittsburgh Vets, Supersport United, and also was out in the States playing for Florida Atlantic Owls, I believe it was, where you won scholarship out there, yeah?
Yo, you're going way back now, but yes, it was Florida Atlantic University. That was just after I graduated high school, so.
There you go.
Long time ago.
Long time ago. We're talking maybe late 90s, early 2000s, bro. For a man whose career was about 12 years in the top flight of South African football. Thank you for being a part of the team. Hey, let's have some fun talking South African football.
Yeah, certainly. It's always fun talking South African football. Glad to be here, honored to share this platform with you guys. And the legend, of course.
Welcome, bro.
The Legs of Thunder himself.
Well, it's Legs of Thunder and Legs of Thunder Junior. If you've seen Mark Haskins, he put threes. Yeah, but we'll talk about that on another day. We'll try and get you a shot when he's wearing shorts in the summertime. Let's talk about the biggest talking point in recent times, the awards, end of season awards. And well, there's a few talking points here that might spark a few debates. Starting off with football of the season, Ribeiro, the Mamelodi Sundowns, coming out tops ahead of Makhalwa of Skugune United, whom I was very impressed with last season. And of course, Mufokeng of Orlando Pirates. I'll start with you, Mark. Your thoughts on the competition for places here and the eventual win as well.
Yeah, again, like you, I think I was extremely proud of what Makhalwa achieved last season and how he came basically back and rejuvenated himself.
From the ABC.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think the thing is, you give him credit for that, but I think that's as far as a realistic chance of actually winning it went. I think he did great to just get amongst the nominees, but I think it was really amongst or between Rile Mofokeng and Ribeiro in terms of who's actually going to walk away with the award. And it was a toss-up, but for me, ultimately, I think the right man got it. I think if you look at overall contribution, and you know, a lot of people say Ribeiro didn't contribute enough, or he wasn't a match winner, or whatever the case may be. But I can guarantee you that every coach that planned against Sundowns had sleepless nights about Ribeiro and his impact and what he was capable of doing. And so, ultimately, if we had to say who was the best player last season, for me, I think it went to the right man.
What was the difference between Ribeiro and the rest of them, Cherry?
Well, I think the caliber that he brought in the game, honestly speaking, I mean, he was a quality player. If Sundowns didn't have Ribeiro, it would be a different Sundowns because he contributed immensely in that team in terms of how he plays the game, the way he's so fluent. Remember, he's also the person that we spoke about him being neutralized to be a South African.
Yeah,
we wanted him to be there. So yeah, you can tell everything that he deserves it. Yes, to the two boys, especially the young Rele, for him to be there, it means a lot. As Mike is saying, I mean, even Makhalwa, you know.
Now, the player of the season is always an interesting one. Again, the players are now coming out and voting, and this is one where your peers are saying, look, amongst us who really gave us the sleepless nights that you speak of, again, Ribeiro beats Makhalwa to the punch here, and Mufokeng. These are the players saying.
If I can say, for me, this is the most valuable award. I think, and I remember being a player, I've only ever gotten a club player, I've never been at this level.
Sure.
But I got, I think I was at Swallows at the time, I got Players Player of the Season. And I got, that for me was you know, when your peers, those you compete with, those around you, when they vote for you and they say, no, we recognize you, we acknowledge you as the best player this season, I think that's even more valuable. And no disrespect to the judges on the outside, but when it comes from your peers and the guys you compete with week in, week out, I think that's an extremely valuable award. And obviously, they agree that he was the best player this season.
Now, Shama goals, but it wasn't just about the number of goals he scored, the quality as well, no?
Yeah. Remember, Uti, if you play this game and then your peers, your opponents, your opposition, they recognize you. This is what you get as a value of who you are. And he really, really deserves it. I mean, the respect that he had for me, the way he was conducting himself inside the pitch. Maybe only one instance, not much. You would see him engaging in a dispute with a player inside the field, and also you give accolades the way he plays. So for me, yeah, on that one, he really, really deserves it.
There's one award I really found interesting going into the awards, and I was dying to hear what the result was coming out of the awards. Coach of the season, Parker from Stellenbosch, from Sundowns, of course, Cardoso, who got there, one could argue, at the midway point of the season, and then Jose Ribeiro of Orlando Pirates. Cardoso wins it. Jerry, in this competition, top-notch coaches, all of them did a stunning job, but Kue, is it the right man that won this award?
No, to be honest, I don't think so, honestly speaking. I really don't think so. Because for me, let's look at the contribution that a coach comes in and do in the PSL. I mean, look at what Jose did in terms of taking the youngsters from the DDC, you know, and putting them into where everybody would look and say, it's not easy to play inside the PSL. It's so demanding. But these youngsters that he just put them and then he jailed them inside the team, and then they were magnificent. And for me, that's the contribution that we need to look at, because this is the platform where, as South Africans, we don't look at development side of it. We've got the DDC. What is the purpose of the DDC? For coaches in the higher division to look at these youngsters and promote them, you know. But yes, when you look at the team in terms of Mamelodi Sundowns, the caliber, the players that they get in terms of financial muscle, you know, and then the coach comes and then does well with the team, yes, it's something people will look at it in that way. But for me, as a South African, I'm always looking at the development. And anybody who comes and does that and bring these youngsters out of the league that was formed to produce players to be ready for top flight football, and this is what Jose Ribeiro was doing. You look at the Carling Cup, what it did with the players from Kaizer Chiefs, you know, all these youngsters that played in the Carling Cup against Makesi. Those players were magnificent.
Mark,
so for me,
your thoughts?
Again, this is such a controversial one. I'd love to know exactly what the criteria is in terms of selecting coach of the season, because otherwise then we may as well just whoever wins the league,
the winner.
You know, then it's automatic that coach gets it. But having said that, no disrespect, I think he was in charge of 22 games, if I'm not mistaken, and went on to break a few records in doing so. So yes, he did well, but then yes, you know, how do we judge the others? Because like Brajeri says, in terms of what Ribeiro does, he did a phenomenal job of integrating young players. But then I look at Steve Barker as well. When you look at who Steve Barker lost, I mean, he lost an Ikram Reyners, he lost Jaden Adams. And for him to still perform the way he did, I know this was purely judged on the Betway Premiership, but you know, look at what he did on the continent as well. So what he's doing out at Stellenbosch is also quite, you know, magnificent. And so any one of these three could literally have walked away with it, and we wouldn't have, you know, we could have made a case for any one of them. But ultimately, I think it comes down to who wins the league.
Quickly, before we shut down, Makhaula and Mofokeng. Makhaula winning midfielder of the season. We have to be quick with this one, gents. And Mofokeng winning the young player of the season. Have to get your guys' thoughts on both these awards for two guys who played a lot of football last season, when you consider the different tournaments and also the continent as well.
Again, I think we need to revisit Young Player of the Season, because if Rile was nominated for Player of the Season, then it was a no-brainer that he was going to get Young Player of the Season.
That was obviously going to be going to,
you know, it's almost like, what was the point, you know, ultimately. Again, Makhaula, I loved him. I thought one game that defined his season was Pirates' win against Sundowns at FNB Stadium. For me, they gave him Bokazi man of the match on that day, but for me, Makhaula that day showed up.
I think I once spoke about it in one of our shows. He deserved something out of that. Yes, let's look at the age, but let's not take it that much. But the contribution that the guy is doing, it's magnificent. Hats off to him.
Well, those are the opinions, of course, of our two experts here. And as far as the major awards from the PSL Awards, we take a short break, come back, and talk about a Toyota Cup down in KZN and the preparations for one coach who's now the chef. He's no longer cooking, he's the master chef, they say, out at Kaizer Chiefs. That's Coach Nabi on the other side of this.